Welcome to Chat Smart English. If you've been learning English for years but still struggle to speak fluently, you're not alone. Many learners feel stuck despite spending hours studying grammar, memorizing vocabulary, and taking lessons. But here's the truth. Traditional English learning methods are failing you. They focus too much on rules and not enough on real communication. In this video, we'll uncover why these methods don't work and what you should do instead to finally speak English with confidence. So, stay with me till the end, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Chat Smart English for more fluency-boosting videos. The hidden problem with traditional learning. Let's start with a simple question. Why do native speakers speak English so effortlessly, but learners struggle despite years of studying? The answer lies in how English is taught. Schools and courses often focus too much on grammar rules, textbook exercises, and rote memorization instead of real-life communication. Imagine learning to swim by reading a book, but never jumping into the water. That's exactly what happens with traditional English learning. You study the language, but rarely practice using it in real conversations. But don't worry. In this video, I'll show you a better way to learn English. One that actually helps you think, speak, and understand English naturally. Before we move on, let me know in the comments. What's the biggest challenge you face in learning English? Your feedback helps me create videos that truly help you. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes in traditional English learning, focusing too much on grammar instead of communication. Think about it. When native speakers talk, do they stop to analyze grammar rules? No. They speak naturally because they have learned English through real-life experience, not just by memorizing rules. But most learners are taught to focus on perfect grammar first, then speaking later. This creates a fear of making mistakes, which stops you from speaking at all. If you've ever hesitated to speak because you were worried about grammar, you know exactly what I mean. The truth is, fluency comes from speaking first, not from perfection. The wrong way versus the right way to learn English. Let's compare two different ways of learning. 1. The traditional way, memorizing grammar rules, completing exercises, and translating everything into your native language before speaking. This method makes English feel slow and unnatural. 2. The smart way, learning through listening, speaking, and real-life conversations. This method helps you think in English and respond quickly, just like a native speaker. So, if you want to improve, start practicing English without overthinking grammar. You will make mistakes, and that's okay. The more you speak, the more natural you will become. Before we move on to the next point, take a moment to hit the like button if you're finding this helpful. And if you're serious about improving your English, subscribe to Chat Smart English for more practical tips. Now, let's talk about another major problem with traditional learning: translating everything into your native language before speaking. This is one of the biggest reasons why learners struggle with fluency. When you translate in your head, your brain takes extra time to process words, making your speech slow and unnatural. Think about it. Do native speakers translate before they speak? No, they think directly in English. If you want to be fluent, you must train your brain to do the same. But how can you stop translating? How to think in English instead of translating. Here's a simple method. 1. Describe your surroundings in English. Right now, look around and say what you see in English. For example, I see a blue chair. The window is open. It's a sunny day. This simple habit forces your brain to think in English. 2. Use easy words to express your thoughts. Don't try to translate complex sentences from your native language. Instead, think of simple ways to express the same idea in English. 3. Practice inner monologue. Throughout the day, talk to yourself in English. Imagine having a conversation in your mind. This will train you to respond in English without translating. The more you practice these techniques, the faster your brain will adjust. Fluency is not about knowing every word. It's about training your brain to think quickly in English. Before we move on, tell me in the comments, do you struggle with translating in your head? Now, let's discuss another mistake that slows down your English fluency: memorizing vocabulary without context. Many learners try to improve their English by memorizing long lists of words. But here's the problem. If you don't know how to use a word in real-life situations, you'll forget it quickly. Think about it. Have you ever learned a new word, but when you tried to use it in conversation, you couldn't remember it? That's because you learned it the wrong way. The right way to learn vocabulary. Instead of memorizing random words, use these simple techniques. 1. Learn words in sentences. For example, instead of just memorizing the word fascinating, learn a sentence like, "This book is fascinating." This helps your brain remember the word naturally. 2. Use the 5 times rule. When you learn a new word, use it at least 5 times in different sentences throughout the day. This will help you remember it better. 3. Learn words from real-life content. Watch English movies, listen to podcasts, or read books. When you hear a new word, note it down and try to use it in your own sentence. The goal is not to memorize 100 words a day, but to learn words that you can actually use in conversations. Now, let's talk about another common mistake: focusing only on passive learning instead of active practice. Many learners spend hours watching English videos, reading books, and listening to podcasts. While these activities are helpful, they are not enough to make you fluent. Imagine trying to learn how to play football by only watching matches. Would you become a great player just by watching? Of course not. You need to practice, play, and make mistakes. The same rule applies to learning English. How to practice English actively. To improve your fluency, you must switch from passive learning to active practice. Here's how. 1. Speak every day, even if you're alone. Stand in front of a mirror and talk about your day. Don't worry about mistakes, just speak. 2. Join online speaking groups. Platforms like HelloTalk, Tandem, or language exchange groups on Facebook can help you find speaking partners. 3. Use the speak first technique. Whenever you hear a new word or phrase, try using it in your own sentence immediately. This makes the word stick in your memory. The more you practice speaking, the faster you will improve. Even if you don't have a partner, you can record your voice and listen to it to track your progress. Another big reason why traditional methods fail is fear of making mistakes. Many English learners hesitate to speak because they are afraid of saying something wrong. But let me tell you a secret. Even native speakers make mistakes. Think about small children learning to talk. They make grammar mistakes all the time, but they don't stop speaking. That's why they improve so quickly. The key to fluency is not perfection, but confidence. How to overcome the fear of mistakes. If fear is stopping you from speaking, try these steps. 1. Change your mindset. Instead of thinking, "What if I make a mistake?" Think, every mistake is a step toward fluency. 2. Practice speaking with yourself first. Stand in front of a mirror and have a conversation with yourself. This helps you gain confidence before speaking with others. 3. Start small. If you're too nervous to speak in full sentences, start with simple phrases. For example, when ordering food, say, "I'll have a coffee, please." Remember, fluency is about communication, not perfection. No one expects you to speak like a native on day 1. The more you speak, the better you get. Now, let's talk about something that can transform your English learning journey: immersion. Many learners study English only in the classroom or for a short time each day, but that's not enough. The best way to learn English is to surround yourself with the language as much as possible. Think about how babies learn to speak. They don't study grammar or memorize vocabulary lists. Instead, they hear the language all the time and slowly start using it. That's immersion. How to create an English immersion environment. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, you can still create immersion in your daily life. 1. Change your phone and apps to English. This forces you to interact with English every day. 2. Watch movies and shows in English without subtitles. This trains your ears to understand natural speech. 3. Think in English throughout the day. Describe what you're doing, like, "I am making coffee. The weather is nice today." 4. Listen to English music, podcasts, and audiobooks. This helps you improve without extra effort. 5. Surround yourself with English speakers online. Join forums, follow English influencers, and engage in conversations. The goal is to make English a natural part of your life instead of something you only study. The more you expose yourself to English, the faster you'll improve. Now that we've uncovered the biggest mistakes in traditional English learning, let's talk about the most important step: consistency. Many learners start with motivation, but give up too soon because they don't see quick results. But remember this: fluency is not built in a day. It's built in daily habits. Think of learning English like going to the gym. If you work out once a month, you won't see results. But if you train every day, even for just 10 to 15 minutes, you'll improve over time. The same rule applies to English. The secret to long-term English fluency. Here's how to stay consistent and make English practice a daily habit. 1. Set small daily goals. Instead of saying, "I want to be fluent," set a goal like, "I will speak English for 10 minutes today." 2. Track your progress. Keep a notebook or use an app to track new words, phrases, and speaking practice. Seeing your improvement will keep you motivated. 3. Make English fun. Learn through things you enjoy, like watching movies, reading stories, or chatting with friends. The more fun you have, the easier it will be to stay consistent. 4. Stay patient and celebrate small wins. Every time you understand a new word, hold a conversation, or think in English, you're making progress. Celebrate these moments and keep going. And that's it. Now you know why traditional methods fail and what you should do instead to become fluent in English. Remember, the key is to practice daily, speak without fear, and immerse yourself in the language. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to Chat Smart English for more practical English learning tips.